What's up, sports fans?
How we doing?
Wednesday night, March 1st. Can you believe it? March 1st.
Thank God.
My Lord. Beautiful.
Insane.
Cruised right through January and a little bit of February, and here we are.
Yep.
It's time for us old people to head south.
Yes, it is.
Time to head south. My man Joe Stinger, he did that about 5 years ago. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm still jealous, Joe. All right, let's dig in. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to cover. But first and foremost, March Madness brings us to a little basketball tournament, John.
Yes, we do. We're gonna be doing our This Fan's View March Madness tournament again, which we will do like we did last year on ESPN.com in their brackets. So we'll have a link on our page that you can just go right to it. It's easy enough to fill out. You just pick your teams and root on, and the computer does the rest. So it's nice to see, nice to do. And we got Villanova starting to get a little hot. So maybe we'll see how far they can go this year.
Can they sneak in? Well, Shawnee said they got to win the Big East to get an invite, because they're what are they, right around 500 mark?
Yeah, they struggled a little bit this year, but they were getting hot there. At the right time, maybe if they're able to get in. So we'll see what happens.
The other Philly teams just aren't cutting it this year, unfortunately. I thought Temple were there in midseason might make a run, but
they beat up on Houston the one game. I mean, they were in games, and then they would lose to teams that you would think they shouldn't have lost to. So
right,
it was a tough season there because Aaron McKee's coaching them, right?
Yep.
So.
Hey, speaking of the tournament, when will ESPN post that? Do you have a date so that people can look for that?
Yeah, that won't go until Selection Sunday, which is the 12th, I think it is.
Okay.
Right before the Sunday the 12th. Once
they get the whole remind me, because I'll be down at Jimmy's Tequila Bar, and hopefully I'll remember.
Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, you got till Thursday to make your picks, so it's all good.
All right.
It's all good. You'll find some time to make your picks.
Well, let's see. Where's our schedule? What's today? March 1st. So we'll remind everybody again next week.
Exactly. Next week
we'll be home, and we'll have a better idea after they some of these teams kind of make or break their selections, with the tournaments and everything going on. So
yeah, I think right around next week I'll be able to get the bracket or our league set up.
Okay,
people can go in and register, and then once that Sunday selection comes about, they can make their picks then. So.
Okay, well,
I didn't realize you drank tequila, Dad.
I'm just at the Tequila Bar. That's all.
Got it. Do they have Miller Lite there?
Better.
I can always find something.
Okay. All right.
I can always find something. I'm sure they have Miller bottles. They might not have draft, but that's okay.
Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. You had to force a Bud Light down my throat the other night, so that was.
I offered the big Miller Lite can later on, but you were not interested.
Whatever you do, just don't drink the worm in the bottle and the tequila bottle.
Worm.
Shawnee said he'll remind me. So
I don't know what that means.
we got a busy couple weeks.
Isn't there like a worm or something? There's some kind of joke about that, about the worm. I don't know. Is it?
If you get to the bottom of it, you're in big trouble.
Right.
Well, all in one sitting, yeah, I would say.
Well, we can ask. No, is Hollis a tequila guy? No, he's a.
No, I think he is.
Was it tequila?
Yeah, I think it was.
Was it? Yeah, you might be right.
You know anything about this worm?
Not enough to speak about.
Okay. Anyway.
That'll be your research for tonight. You can look it up.
Mhm.
All right.
I'll let you know what I find.
All right. So I don't want to lose sight of the fact that Saturday there's a big event happening over at one of our friendly Delco spots, Hanrahan's Irish Pub, and our very good friend Brian Friel, and Tim Patrick's Day on Saturday at Hanrahan's. Tickets are still available. It's $40. All the beer and wine you can drink. There's a buffet. There's going to be a great 50-50, awesome raffle prizes, all for our good friend the Friel family, all with money being donated to St. Vincent's.
Francis.
When I say Vincent's, I always want to say that St. Francis up in Kensington. So they do a great job. I noticed the other day I started following them, and our manager Rob Thompson was up there this past winter at Christmas time. They were doing a food drive up there, and he and his wife were up there, so that was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. So we'll be out there this Saturday. We're gonna give a hand to Brian, whatever he needs. Hopefully, we see some familiar faces. So come out, hang out with us, have a couple cold ones, and we'll have a good time. So that's from 1 to 5, right, Lauren?
Yes.
1 to 5. Anything else that I need to hit on with that?
You might even get to see Brian sing a song or two.
I've heard him talk about that. I'd like to see that. Yeah.
You would? He does. I don't think he has a good voice, as I'm going to assume that.
Oh man, come on.
He doesn't strike me as the vocal type.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think he gets up there with his Irish accent, and
he can cut a rug.
Yeah, he can get it done.
That's another one I went right over. Lauren said to cut a rug.
Jeez.
I thought cutting a rug was a dancing term, so now I'm so confused.
It's all that's old school tequila per Sean with the worm.
Exactly.
I guess it was probably some cheap ass tequila from back in the day, and
But did it have actual worms in it?
No, it was like a.
It was so cheap it had worms.
No, I don't know how to.
Anyhow,
We'll look it up later.
go on.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on. So anyway, that's this Saturday, and we're looking forward to a big crowd there. So come out, support it. We'll have some fun. So moving right along, I can't wait any longer. I know Lauren put this in her email already. That went out to the Carl's Cards people today. But we've got a special guest, a very special guest, coming to Hanrahan's the end of the month. March 29th. Ray Didinger, Hall of Famer Ray Didinger, comes to Hanrahan's for the show, book signing, talk sports with us. Hopefully put some of that knowledge that's on those yellow sheets of paper into our heads, so we can get his breakdown of what he thought of the Super Bowl and everything in his 50, 60 years of covering the Eagles.
Yeah, lifetime. It's just it'd be interesting to see. We'll get an inside view of what it was like with him watching the football games with his son this year.
Yeah,
since you got to get to watch them a little bit more with his son this year, so that should be interesting to in
his semi-retired life.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, we've had him at the store a few times. Just a very true professional. Both books will be available at the signing, so we're really, really looking forward to that at Hanrahan's. So they're going to be busy. They got a lot of bands going on this month. This is their month. It's Irish. It's Irish month. It's St. Patrick's Day. They got a busy time. So we all support each other, which is very cool, and we're looking forward to having some fun. So Ray Didinger, mark it down, save the date, March 29th, Ray Didinger, This Fan's View, and at Hanrahan's Irish Pub in Drexel Hill.
It'll be fun.
So, yeah, going to be a lot of fun. Thanks to Lauren for booking that one. She's doing quite the agent type work these days. So
That's right.
Mhm.
There you go.
congrats. All right, we'll get to you in a minute. Stop. You can chill out.
I think he was whistling for excitement for me.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
I would hope he wouldn't whistle at you for your attention.
I wasn't sure.
I would not do that.
That would be a bit much.
I wouldn't do that.
I wasn't sure. What else we got going on? March is just a great month because this old timer gets to head out to Clearwater.
So when do you leave?
Either next Wednesday night or Thursday morning. We haven't put the finalization on departure.
But regardless, it's safe to say you'll be in Clearwater and reporting by the 10th.
I will be at Jimmy's Iguana Bar Friday night.
We've moved from tequila to iguana. You're getting closer.
I figured out the name of the bar.
You're getting closer. I wasn't sure what you were going for. So
and that's with Deer Park. That's not even anything good.
okay. Is that within walking distance of your hotel now that you're fancy guy?
Fancy guy called the hotel today to find out, because I
How far
get a
the
little.
bar is?
Huh?
Did you call the hotel today to find out how far the bar is?
Well, that was a question. Yeah, they don't have a direct path, so the guy was very, like you got to cross the major street. So
Oh,
You and streets aren't good.
yeah, that's not a good combo for you.
You guys still bringing that up? It's been 2 years. Come on.
I think that'll be a lifetime thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Exactly.
But anyway, Clearwater Beach Hotel. We're staying down there this year. Shawnee gets married. That's the other big attraction, March 16th in Clearwater. So if you didn't get an invitation, find me. I'll get you in. I know somebody.
All right.
So it's all good. It's all good.
March
Shawnee's
15th might be another exciting show that you're working on down there as well.
Ryan.
Yeah, we're hoping. Fingers crossed.
Just being down there is going to be exciting, no matter where.
Yep.
No matter where. It's at.
Fingers crossed. We're gonna find a spot. Hopefully, it's a really cool spot. So we'll keep that one under wraps for another week or so, or 2 weeks. Who knows? But like I said, March is a beautiful month. I love March. So we're really looking forward. Lauren, when do you leave?
The night of the 13th.
Okay. So you'll be down there the 14th.
Correct. Yep. Early afternoon if I'm driving. Later in the night if Anthony is.
You're doing a lot of snoozing on that trip.
Mm-hmm. That's for the best anyway. Then I don't have to hear about how fast I'm going.
There you go. There you go.
Night.
So that's pretty much it for March. Carl's Cards will stay open. John will be there running the show. His sidekick, Bill Mattis, will chip in and help us out where necessary. So the store will be open regular store hours. We come home just in time for the Cates brothers, the Flyers, brothers on the 27th. I told you March was packed.
Yeah, but before that, you've got Small Business Night at the Flyers on the 23rd.
Why don't you? I need to get water. Why don't you take that one?
So we were invited to participate in the Flyers Small Business Recognition Night with the Flyers on, I think it's a Thursday, March 23rd. So Carl's Cards crew will be there for that. So we're excited. We were a part of that last year, so we're excited to be back again this year. So yeah, you can look for us. We'll have a little table set up on the concourse. But the rest of us will be hanging in our little party area, and then we'll be up on the video board at some point during the game. So that's right when we get back. The 23rd.
Hopefully the entire team doesn't get traded by Friday because
Well, I mean, hopefully it does, right?
Just not the Gates brothers.
Well,
Yeah.
not the Cates brothers. Oops.
yeah.
Careful what you wish for.
I hear you. It's been a struggle. Been a struggle for that appearance and also for the team. But real quick, so we'll talk a little hockey because there's really not a whole lot to talk about right now. I see where the GM finally came out yesterday, I want to say, and talked to the media about pretty much nothing.
Right.
To let everybody know that they're basically going to try to unload as many players as possible with big fat contracts and take a step back and try to rebuild this thing. So that's an unusual process for the Flyers because correct me if I'm wrong. This just isn't in their DNA. This would have never happened under the Ed Snyder regime.
No.
Into this, but it's not a good one. They've got a lot, like Chris Terrian talked about it at Hanrahan's. They got a lot of dead contracts, and they just can't get out from under a lot of them. So they're going to be bad for probably 2, 3, even 4 years. I got to think.
Well, it might be the best thing for them to do. I mean, if you haven't won in a very long time, you'd rather have a team start from scratch and lose than have a team that's like this, spending all this money and lose. You know what I mean? So at least it's going to be a couple bad years, but at least where they're going. I don't know. I feel like that's probably a good move.
Well, it's a necessary move.
Yeah.
We saw it with the 76ers, right? We saw it with the tanking for, 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's 13 now.
Is that what it's at?
It's been a while.
So, here we are. We, now we have the process, process times 2 with the orange and black. So,
but that's all right, because if you tell the fans that that's what you're doing, I think the fans will buy in because they know what you're doing. At least you have a plan. Right now, it seems so disheveled, like there is no plan.
Well, let me bounce this off of you because you're a marketing, management guru. When the 76ers were in this tanking mode, they reduced the price of their tickets. You could go to a game for $7, $8.
Sure.
And sit lower level. Do you think the Flyers are going to actually lower the price of tickets?
They're going to have to. You're going to have to, because if you tell people that that's what you're doing and you make it obvious, if what they're doing now is you kind of got a foot in, a foot out. You got to pretend like everything's normal and you charge in regular prices. If you tell people that you are going to specifically, it's going to be a tough couple of years. If you expect them to go to the game, you have no choice but to lower that ticket price. Now, it might not be as low as like a minor league baseball game or something, because you still got to pay all these fees and this and that. But you should be able to buy like a $15, $20 ticket for the upper level, because you're telling your fans we're not going to be good. But I would hope so. If they don't, that's a bad move.
Yeah, I'm not sure what direction they're going to go. I want to address a couple of questions from Nick.
Yeah,
I don't know if Fletcher is the right guy to handle the GM duties through all of this. I honestly don't have an answer to that question. I know that earlier in the year, during the offseason, they were talking Danny Briere as the heir apparent, but we haven't heard a peep of his name ever since. So
right.
I don't know what's happening there. Tortorelli, he wanted a job. He wanted to get back coaching in the NHL, so he would have taken just about anything, and this was probably his only offer to get back coaching behind the bench. So I'm not a fan. I never was a fan of Torts. I just don't think he wears out his welcome, with the players, with the fans. I don't know. These next, for being a big hockey fan, Flyers fan, these are going to be grueling years for me because I have a hard time watching them now. I can't imagine it getting much worse.
Well,
to answer your question,
Yeah.
or see your answer for Fletcher, who is he drafted? Because obviously he's hamstrung, with contracts to be able to make moves. But who have you seen that he's drafted that you say, oh yeah, well he knows what he's doing here right at the moment, that he is a guy that's going to be able to rebuild this once we tear this down?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question because you've got a lot of youth. But, they draft these kids so young, 17, 18, 19 years old, right? And it takes forever for them to mature and become NHL players. You just don't have anything that's NHL ready right now. A lot of these guys that are playing, would they normally be up under normal conditions?
You would hope not, type of thing, because you're hoping they're developing better, but like you said, with Atkinson and all these other guys being out, Ellis, it's what are you going to do? You got to, in the cap world.
My spring training buddy Kevin Kramer says sell the team. They're not selling the team. I mean, Comcast, that's, I mean,
the value of teams right now is through the roof, and they know how much that's worth. If they sit out and don't do anything, the price goes up. So they're not going to sell the team.
Yeah, it's going to be a grind. It really is. I'm curious to see who they're able to move, because moving some of these veterans with these contracts, you've got to attract. Like a couple of years ago, they gave up Shane Gostisbehere, right? And they had to throw in a draft pick, a prospect along with him to get, who was it, Arizona, to take to take him.
Right.
By the way, Shane's been traded to Carolina. So kudos to him. He's on a winning team now.
Right.
Well, I would say for the coach, he hasn't had he's been around for a while, hasn't had a great, sort of winning history. But I will say, he's only been there a short time. So obviously this isn't his fault per se. He's got to work with what he's got. And then the GM too, he can't really do too much. So I don't know if it's the management itself of the current team or the moves that were made before. I feel like you might want to give, some people a chance. But, when the team's losing, it does come down to you. So, they might not. I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah,
the GM, the current GM, Fletcher, he came here and, he was in a bad spot when he took the job over. And I think he's just made it even worse.
Right.
With some of these guys that he's brought in and, handed out, big contracts to and traded for. All I know is they better get this draft right, and they better get the guy, that's going to be an impact player right away, because they need help.
Yeah, I think the only way you can judge Fletcher is with the draft, Anthony. Because like you said, he can't do anything else. Moving a guy here, veteran guy, like you said, you had to give up prospects on top of it to get rid of Gostisbehere, but.
Yeah, but he's you look at some of the things that he has done, and they just haven't, the stuff that he's got his name on, the Cam Atkinson for Jake Voracek trade. Okay, that's pretty much a wash because both guys are out of the league, hurt, and probably never play again.
Right.
But both are stuck with bad contracts. I'll butcher this name. The guy they signed from Buffalo, traded from Buffalo. Help me out, Nick Graff. What's his name?
Roslin.
Fedotenko.
No, it's not Fedotenko. That would be too easy. But they Risto. Yeah, we'll call him Risto for the sake of his
Ristolano, right? Isn't it?
Ristolanov. They paid him ungodly amounts of money. And, you don't even hear his name mentioned during the game, and he was supposed to be, an instant success. Kevin Hayes, there's another one. He's been a healthy scratch, by the coach. It's been a nightmare down there on Broad Street. It's really been bad. You get rid of a lot of these, cap casualties, and you're going to have a very, very young team, and you'll probably lose just about every night. And I just don't know if the fans are ready for that in Philadelphia.
Well, I think it's, any type of sort of cap sport, you got to do that at some point. I would personally, I don't know. I feel like I would prefer that than pretending that you're going to win with the current lineup that you have and people know that you're not going to. But yeah, it's going to be tough for Philadelphia to sort of accept that because all the other teams are pretty much winning at this point. So, but yeah, at some point you have to, because if not, you're going to just keep doing this for the next 3 or 4 years and you'll wish you had started it 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, I mean, again, and I hate to repeat myself, but, you got to be lucky along the way, right? You got to hit on 1 or 2 of these moves, and they just have not been lucky. They just, these have all been moves that have backfired on them because of, the guys getting hurt or just not living up to the contracts. They also, I know we talked about this a million times, they also don't seem to have a face of the team, like correct. You think Jalen Hurts, you think of Bryce Harper, you think of Joel Embiid, I don't know a guy in the Flyers that you could do that to. Yep.
So I don't know.
You're 100%. That's exactly right. You have no leadership quality. There isn't the coach has pretty much said, the captain's going to have to earn the C. Well, I guess there's no one, that can wear it because, here we are, and
well, he probably doesn't want to give it up because they'll be gone in the next couple of weeks, whatever.
Yeah. And now, probably their best player, Travis Konechny's, he's out for an extended period of time. He's hurt. So it's just, going nowhere, going nowhere. Yeah. So, enough Flyers talk. Unless you guys have some positivity you can throw into it.
No, I mean, I guess my only question is when would they make that like an announcement like that if they decide to go that way? Like when would that happen?
Well, I think they've pretty much kind of made the silent announcement already. And now they're going to follow it up come trade deadline by Friday and move 2 or 3 of these guys, and get rid of these contracts and bring up more of the youth from the Lehigh Valley team. Yeah. So it was playing very well, by the way. They're doing good things down there. But it's a different, I mean, look at the game the other night, 7-0 to the Devils. I mean, they might as well not even got off the train. Right. I mean, that was pathetic. And tonight might not be any better against the Rangers. I mean, just look a couple of years ago, maybe 3 at the most. The Rangers were in this predicament, right?
Yeah.
They unloaded some bad contracts and, drafted a couple of good guys that were ready to play in the NHL. And now look at them. They're adding pieces at the trade deadline and they're making a run at the Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's true.
But let's talk some Sixers. We'll go from one bad subject to another.
Oof.
I don't know. It just feels. So there's these games on the road that there's some big games because you have what you said 5 games in 7 days.
Yes.
So those are important. I mean, you gotta, I could see in Sixers fashion them, win in half and lose in half, but it would be nice if they could win all. But
real quick, they got Miami tonight. They got the Mavericks tomorrow night. They're off, and then they have the Bucks.
The Bucks, yeah.
They got those 3 games in 4 nights.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to win. If you could win 3 or 4 of those games, you might feel like in a good spot. If they split them or they win 1 game, I feel like you're in the same spot that you are right now. I don't know. I just something. They didn't really do anything at the trade deadline, which was shocking because they've always done stuff before. You hear rumors today that have continued from before about Harden to Houston and this and that. And, I think, honestly, I don't think he knows. I think he likes Philadelphia and would like to stay here. But if he feels like they're not going to win anything, he might just want to go back to Houston and kind of be done. So I don't think it's like I hate Philadelphia. I think it's are we going to win the damn thing or not? And I don't know that you can win the team with the current lineup. Just whether it's, you saw the other night with the game that we were at, they do a good job, the other teams, of using their bench. Boston, guys coming in off the bench. The Sixers, I think they get tired a lot because there's only 3 or 4 guys I feel like that are really, really good. And if you are playing them in the first quarter, you're going to go better than them. But at the end of the game, I think Joel Embiid's too tired and he's got no help. And I don't know that you can win like that long term.
You're 100% right.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Right.
The bench killed them. I mean, they were outscored, bad. I think by like 30 some points, they were outscored the bench.
I mean, the NBA is they're all very fickle, right?
Yeah.
The next night the Celtics get blown out by the Knicks,
Mm-hmm.
right? Tatum,
Yeah.
superstar Tatum, he didn't even show up for that game.
Nope.
So I mean, it's crazy.
It's really who plays best in that fourth quarter because no one plays any defense. So whoever scores last wins.
Right.
You got to make sure that Joel Embiid is so rested up that he can win, but you have to balance it by you need to make sure you take him out. So they've been taking him out in the second. They've been taking him out in the third. So he's got some time in the fourth, but sometimes it's too late. Other times they figure out to double team him. He's also just not, unfortunately, not consistent enough. Lauren was saying the other day, like, I don't know if he's immature or what it is, but there's something missing there. He could be as hard as you want him to be sometimes, and other times he just looks like he's in another world, and I don't know how you fix that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because he didn't grow up playing basketball, so he can play it when he wants to, but it's not like something that's in his blood. I don't know what it is.
It seems like when it comes down to the end, and I don't know if this is what you're talking, Lauren, he tries to show off and make a prettier shot than actually just doing what he has to do. He fades away and does all these other little things instead of being just more aggressive at times, where he needs to be.
I think he's tired of having to carry the team on his back. I think he's running out of hope that anything good is going to come out of this. Because the team absolutely rides or dies if he's out there or not. When we were there Saturday night, sitting, front row right behind, those courtside seats there, you see action that you don't necessarily see on TV because you're not really paying that close attention to it. And they have a 15-point lead. Doc pulls Embiid out of the game, puts him on the bench for 7-8 minutes, and the 15-point lead's gone.
Yeah, they were losing by 3.
That can't happen. You can't only perform when he's out there. That's not going to work. That's never going to work. And I disagree that there's not enough depth on the bench because you don't know it.
Yeah.
You don't know. And I'm not saying that the whole A team goes off and the whole B team comes on, but move those guys in and out. Let those guys play with Harden. Let them play with Embiid. But it can't be like the A team and the B team. We're not in high school anymore. This has to be a combination, a team effort here. And, they got Korkmaz riding the bench and everybody says he sucks. Well, how do you know he sucks?
I haven't seen him play.
He's never in anymore. I mean, and it's Tyrese Maxey is absolutely in a rut right now. And I don't know what's going on there. I mean, hopefully he figures it out. And, we were joking a couple weeks ago because somebody at Anthony's Work had mentioned trading him for a bunch of good pieces. And I think the city would burn if that happened. But I also wonder, is he as good as we think he is?
I don't know. I don't know that he is. I don't know that he's not. I feel like it's early to say, but at the same time, I know, Carl, I know you don't like him coming in that second line. You've mentioned that before. But I feel like they definitely need a leader on that second line. And if it's not going to be – the problem is they don't really have a person that would lead. Okay, maybe you put Tobias to start and he's on that second line, but he's in there sometimes anyway with the second line. So I don't know if you take Maxey out, who the hell that person would be anyway. They put him as a leader, but I don't know who else you would replace him with is the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sue brings up Seth Curry. I read an article today where Brooklyn may be buying out his contract, so he may be available.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the type of energy that you need coming off the bench.
I think the biggest thing that they're missing is a consistent piece every single night. A guy that can just put up. It's nothing crazy. It's never, it's consistent. It's reliable. But they don't have that. One night, Tobias Harris is out there with 4 points. Another night, he's out there with 30. You can't win on that because you just never know who's going to show up. Same thing with Maxey. Yeah. Same thing with Embiid. They're so inconsistent, and they don't have somebody that they can look to. And as great as Joel Embiid is, I'm not sure he's a great leader. Right. I'm not sure he's a great voice in the locker room to get the guys pumped up, or somebody that you can lean on, because half the game he's out of breath.
Yeah. He also complains a lot, as a younger person might do. Like, he's always looking for a foul, and if they don't call the foul, he's getting mad. Why don't you just make the damn shot and then you don't have to worry about the foul?
His whole game is to take it underneath the basket and just force somebody to foul him because he's bigger than everybody else on the court. Well,
and they don't call it every time.
That's not productive because the other team knows it's going to happen.
Yeah. And they're not going to call it every time because they know he's a big guy and they know he flops a lot. So he's complaining the other night. Well, if you didn't do that every single time, they might give you a call every now and then, but you do it every time and they know it's coming.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating because they feel so close, but they also feel so far away. I don't know that they could beat one of those teams, Well,
let me ask you, and his name comes up a lot. You guys touched on it earlier. Is Harden the answer? Is he the player he once was? No.
5 years ago, he might have been that guy. He's still a good piece, but the problem is their main two pieces are Joel Embiid and Harden, and one of them is really old and one of them is not that mature. So I don't know. Right. I don't know that they're in that much better of a place than they were before he was here, to be honest.
I don't mind Harden though. I think he is what we thought he would be at this point in his career. He doesn't bother me. I feel like he's out there, doing his thing and doing the best that he can. But if he was coming here to win a championship and is now like, okay, well, this is obviously not going to happen, so I'm just going to head back to Houston. Part of me wishes just shut up. You know what I mean? We don't need that extra, distraction in the press.
Right.
We don't need any of that right now.
I think he's just getting tired of it here. He thought he was going to win, and they're very inconsistent. So he's at the end of his career, he wants to go back home and be done. And I don't blame the guy for that. But it just stinks that it didn't work out as well as people thought it was going to.
Well, they paid him a lot of money, and I don't know. I hate to talk, what if, they don't win this year? What do they do on the second half of that contract? Because what are they paying him? $48 million or something?
Well, didn't he take less money too? So I also feel like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know personally, but I feel like he might be a good guy that says, all right, I'll just go back to Houston and not necessarily take the money I was going to, just, to put the Sixers in a good place. I don't feel like he's a bad person. It just hasn't worked out. And by the way, we talk about them might not being able to make it. Obviously we want them to, but they could also over the next couple months, win X amount of games in a row, 20 games, and I wouldn't be shocked either. They just got to put their mind to it.
Well, I mean, I guess the light that shines upon it is that they're not getting blown out. Mm-hmm. They're in most of these games. They just need to, find a way, a common theme amongst the group. And I think a lot of that has to do with the coach to find the right pieces to come off the bench in a timely fashion. You know what I mean? It always seems like it's just the timing just seems to be off. When Embiid, how long he sits on the bench. Lauren talked about the 15-point lead. He came back in the game and they were down by 3. It just seems there's a lot going on. And there's really a big drop-off in their productivity when he leaves the floor. Because, you go from, having Embiid and Harden on the floor, and now all of a sudden Tobias Harris is your field general or Maxey's your energy guy. So it just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of continuity right now.
Yeah.
Well, and I honestly think that Doc's time here is coming to an end.
Well,
If he doesn't go deep into the playoffs, if not the final, I mean, not saying you got to win it all, but you got to go to deep, almost to the end of the conference finals, if not the championship. If he didn't do either one of those two, I think he's got to go.
Well, the thing that really bothered me the most about Saturday night's game, it was a great game to go to, don't get me wrong, but if you watch the replay of when they inbounded the ball, gave it to Embiid, and he shoots it from basically the other end of the court, and he actually makes it, if they would have done that, moved any quicker, he would have made it, and you would have tied the game.
yep.
Right.
How does the coach not tell them to hustle their ass, put the ball in the best guy's hand, and have him take the shot? But they almost sort of like forgot that they had to do it because the game was already over according to them. And they're like, oh shit, we gotta get the ball in. Tosses the ball in. By the time any of that happens, the game's over.
Yeah, no, true.
I don't think Doc puts them in a great position. And I don't think he knows how to properly use and energize his bench.
Yeah, Nick brings it up. They were gassed. I saw through a lot of that game. Because they played. They use up an awful lot of energy to get back in the game because they were down. They were down after that 15-point run. You know what I mean? They were down a good amount of points and they fought back. But that takes a lot of energy.
Right.
Takes a lot of energy to get back in the game. And then by that time, it's time for them to rest, so he sits for half of the fourth quarter. And by the time, you get your starters back in there, you're down, 6-8 points. So now you got to fight back again.
Well, they don't really have a guy, unfortunately, so Tatum was struggling every day, the other day. So when he went to the hoop, they double teamed him still because he is Tatum, and Horford hit all those threes.
He came back to haunt them. Yep.
Right. So what do? You flip it to Tobias and hope that he's got to hit it. He's not consistent. So you get more consistent, I guess, by putting him in those positions to do it. But a lot of times I think Harden or those guys just say, you know what? I don't trust him. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah. I don't know what Embiid's status is for tonight. I had heard it was another, possible, sore foot injury.
Load management.
What happened?
Load management.
Is that? Yeah. So they were playing really well prior to the All-Star break, but they were playing some of the lightweights. They weren't playing the top teams. This run coming up is going to tell a lot about this team.
No, it does. Yeah, they need to also learn to play defense. Like just like
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, right, and they don't. That's Maxi's problem. Like he doesn't play defense. Enough to be able to play with Harden in the starting lineup. Because with Harden and Maxi there, you get killed. Tobias was doing a decent job against Tatum that night. It's just it.
Well, you don't even need them to play
like they're a bunch of misfits.
You don't even need them to play like excellent defense. They just got to have
right.
a little bit of oomph. Because if you did, there's no reason they should have ever lost that game by 3 points.
No.
Yeah.
I know it's not 1995 and it's not Hakeem Olajuwon, grabbing the rebounds anymore. That doesn't exist. However, if the ball's up in the air and instead of going to jump for it, Embiid is already running down the court hoping someone else does, that can't happen. If you want to win, it cannot happen.
But I don't think he thinks there's any other playmakers available. So he's trying to do it all.
Yeah, but the problem is he thinks he's Dirk Nowitzki, and that's not really what he is. He is a big guy. He needs to use his strength better.
I think he's worried about scoring points. I don't think he's worried about his rebounds.
Okay, well, if you lose 132 to 129, every single time, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? He's got to figure that out. And you would have thought someone would have talked to him by now about that.
Do you think?
But he seems like a pretty stubborn guy.
Do you think too much of the offense goes through Embiid?
Yes.
And that bogs them down because nobody else can get involved.
But I don't think you can have it any other way because he doesn't. Once he gets the ball, if you watch, he rarely passes it.
He's going to shoot.
He never gives it to anybody else. So then all they do is crowd him because the other team knows he's a ball hog.
Yeah, I mean between him and Harden, they both.
I don't think he has faith in his teammates. I think that's what it boils down to. He doesn't have faith in the ball being in anybody else's hands but his.
And that's a big problem.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
But in his defense, if they were to hit a damn shot every now and then.
But how do you know? There's no rhythm there. So by the time Tobias Harris gets the ball, he hasn't had it for 6 minutes. He forgot what it felt like.
He's got to catch it and shoot right away instead of being able to.
The biggest problem, as Lauren mentioned before, is the rhythm. There's no rhyme or reason what Doc's doing. I don't know. He gets out coached a lot, and he's not a bad coach. I just don't think he knows how long to keep guys in or take them out.
We've seen some high energy guys come and go, over the past few years, that they brought in a JJ Redick, a 3-point guy, Jimmy Buckets, right? Jimmy Butler. He didn't want to re-sign here. You know what I mean? What did he know? You know what I'm saying? What did he know? What did he see?
Brett Brown.
I mean, we've got all the excuses figured out, don't we?
Well, you know what? But he's exactly what you're missing. We don't have a wing player to make the outside shot, consistently. Like Lauren was, you just be out there. Curry would be great to get him back. You'd be able to knock down the outside shot if you can get him.
Well, he comes off the bench and gives you 30 points.
Right.
You know what I mean? You blink and he hits 6 in a row. You know what I mean? And we don't have that guy. You're right. We don't have that guy.
Ever since he went down, what was it, the Atlanta series? I think it was 2 years ago. Once he got hurt in that series, the team hasn't been the same since. With him,
Well, I guess the bottom line here is everybody was thinking that the Maxey thing coming off the bench was going to be that guy. You know what I mean? And it might have been. It might work later on in his career. I just think, for a rookie player, a young player like that, you're asking a lot.
He's got to get his head out of his ass is what he's got to do.
You know what I mean? I think that just took a lot of wind out of his sail because he was he was used to running with the starters. Right. You know what I mean? And he was that energy guy, and I think part of the problem is he doesn't know who he's playing with, coming off the bench, who that second unit is going to be, because right now it's a mishmash of who's coming in.
Well, right. But he should take that and roll with it though. Not be
You're
selfish.
Right. But I
know
John,
he's young, but
I think that's the immaturity, in a young player. He was so used to, having it his way as a starter. And I'm not criticizing him because he's a young player,
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot to ask of a young player. And I thought he played well Saturday night against Boston. I think he came back and hit quite a few shots, and kept the Sixers alive in that game.
And that's why he should take that and roll with it, because he is a big part of this team. Just because he's not a starter, get that out of your head that you're not a starter. Big deal. You're playing 30 minutes. So you're still playing the starter minutes.
Well, I think all this kind of, there's a lot of things to analyze. At the end of the day, normally you would say if there are this many things that we're critiquing this far along, it's probably not. I hope this is not true, but it's probably not a championship team if we're having these many things that we're talking about. And if that's the case, they got to figure out what the hell they're doing going forward if they're not going to step up somehow.
And their problem is they're too stuck right in the middle there. They're too close to break it down.
Yeah,
too far away to actually win.
You're right. It's like one of those playoff teams that consistently makes the playoffs, but they can't figure it out. So what do you do in that case? You don't want to blow it up because people will be mad, and you're selling a lot of tickets and merchandise.
Right.
Vikings.
Yeah, it's like the Minnesota Vikings. That's what it's like. And I don't know how you fix it. They're there every year, but they never do anything.
Well, in the offseason, they were talking, they needed to get tougher, right? So they bring in PJ Tucker.
Sure.
Right? And now everybody's on his ass, because he doesn't score any points. Well, he wasn't brought in to score points.
No, right. No.
He wasn't brought in for that.
He's the only guy getting any rebounds the other day.
He was brought in. He was brought in to knock people down and get rebounds and push people around and protect the paint.
The
Now
stuff
everybody
that he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It's just.
But he can't because he's out on the third, the 3-point line, waiting for the ball to score as many points as he can.
Right. Yeah, because he's playing soft.
Lauren,
he's a pretty boy.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Are you giving up on your boy?
No, I'm not giving up on him because I think if the team ever wins a championship, it is built around him.
Oh, no doubt. No
but
doubt.
He's got to have like a come to Jesus moment sometime soon that his play is not helping the team.
Right.
And they got to figure it out because we're running out of time. He's at the prime of his career now and he can barely get up and down the court.
I think
in a quarter.
I think the problem is when it comes down to it, I think he is a very, very, very big piece of a championship winning team. Mm-hmm. But currently right now he is the piece. And I don't think he has the mentality to be the piece. You need someone.
I don't think he's got
he should be the number 2.
Physical capability.
He's flopping too much. He gets you worried every time he's on the falls down a lot. He needs to be the number 2, and he needs like a veteran guy to rein him in because I don't think he has that.
For somebody who is an athletic basketball player, he breathes the way I would running up and down the court, and I don't do it every day.
Yeah,
I don't think you can win building around just Embiid or an Embiid going as your main guy. You need a guy that can close out games.
Yeah,
and Maxey could be that guy, type of thing, along with Embiid. Not that he's not a piece that you just get rid of him. But I don't think you can win going through him as your main offense.
John, I'm gonna throw it to you. I don't know how many years it's been now. But they've changed the format of this team every year.
Right.
Every year.
And he's every year.
Every year. But he's the main cog on this team.
Right.
And they still can't find, the winning, formula.
Yep.
Like I said to you, you had JJ Redick in here. You had Jimmy Butler in here. Who else am I missing? Curry was a nice piece, but unfortunately he had to go into Ben Simmons trade. Right?
Yep.
We've had a lot of pieces in this team, around him. And we seem to circle back to the same guy all the time.
Right. Yeah, because you can't this current NBA, you can't win around a big man as your main player. Not that you don't need him, but like if we had a Jimmy Butler on this team that can be a closer, when a game comes, towards the end, like Shaq and Kobe, you need more of we don't have a Kobe to go with Shaq. Like Shaq can do certain things, but you're just never gonna
win.
I'm not even
said it tonight, but we don't have that wingman. You know what I mean? We don't have that wingman.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it up again. If Brooklyn decides to unload Curry for whatever reason, the Sixers better find a way to get him back in Philly real quick.
Yeah, and I'm sure Doc will do that.
The Sixers need like a huge, like, out of this world draft pick, something that changes the whole.
You don't have them though.
I know.
You don't have them.
I know.
You've gotten rid of just about everybody and everything. All of your assets are right now on the floor. That's where all your assets are.
Right.
Don't worry. They'll bring in Mac McClung. That'll change everything.
Embiid is not in the starting lineup tonight. So
there you go.
I don't know if he's out entirely or if he's coming off the bench, but you got Melton in for him.
Who?
Melton.
Your boy. You love him.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think there's we've been saying this all along. Like you only can go so far with him being the closeout guy.
Well, they're prior to the All-Star break, and again, they weren't playing the high power, the big teams. You weren't playing the really good teams.
What do you think Shake Milton and Korkmaz did to get on Doc's shit list?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But if we're having this conversation in our little group right here, don't you think the rest of the basketball world is having the same conversation? You know, because, well,
maybe we're so much smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Doc is I think Doc plays, I don't know this for a fact, but it seems like he plays favorites. Someone does something wrong, he's on the bench. No, whoever helps you win the damn game. Korkmaz was starting last year now a bunch of games. Now, I know that's not the preference, and he probably shouldn't be a starter, but why can't he be a sixth man? I haven't seen him play in literally months, minus a minute or two here or there.
Yeah, he hasn't played before Christmas.
Okay, so then let the guy walk and let him go find a job. Don't make him sit on the bench. He looks so disappointed. You know, he doesn't get to play.
Well,
Yeah,
who are the two big guys he lost?
A lot of these guys that Morey brought in are just not working out. They're just not, just not the pieces. You know, you need to find that high energy guy that's gonna give you points.
Well, my question is he really that good? You always talk about the Flyers. Is he that good? He brought in Harden. What else what has he done? I mean, they don't look any better than before he started.
Yeah. Real quick, the show's been great talking 76ers, but we got to talk Phillies real quick. They're off to I know it's spring training baseball, but they're off to a fast start. How fun is that going to be this year when the games count?
It'll feel like it feels like normal for a change, right? Like, some people have gone to spring training, some haven't. It feels like everyone's, that had been going is trying to go back again, is going to get back to normal. You're going to enjoy St. Patrick's Day. And once the Phillies actually get here, coming off of the World Series, people are going to be really excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to put up a friend of mine sent me a picture of the new scoreboard that's getting installed down at Citizens Bank. I mean, it is huge. It is humongous. I mean, you ought to see the size of this thing. It's ridiculous how big it is. So, yeah, Phillies baseball is going to be exciting this year. We're going to have a lot of good positive thoughts there. I know Andrew Painter was the starter today down in Fort Myers, and he had a couple of strong innings. So things are really moving in the right direction there. And really looking forward to baseball. I'm looking forward to getting down to spring training. I haven't been down there in about, I think it's 3 years, I want to say.
Well, you were there in 2020.
Right.
And you guys came back early because they shut everything down. And then that was the last time you guys were there, and we haven't been there since 2019.
Right. Yep. So we're all looking forward to it. Should be a whole lot of fun down there. I know last weekend John and I were talking about this, and I know the weekend crowds there are a lot bigger, but the place was packed. They said it was a sellout. It was a sellout crowd over the weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. It's good to see. It's like you said, we got 3 winners hopefully in town. With the Union, the Eagles going to the Super Bowl, the Phillies going to the World Series.
Don't forget about the Stars.
What's that?
Don't forget about the Stars.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had 4 championship losses this year.
That league might be out of business before it starts this year.
Hey, the XFL seems to be on fire.
At first I thought people were going to really hate on it because every time it comes around, they hate on it. I don't know if it's The Rock or it just the logo.
It's The Rock.
Yeah, people are giving him a chance, and the quality of play is obviously not the NFL, but from the games I've seen, it's been exciting to watch. Yep. So I hope they stick around.
Yeah.
And they're smart about it because they literally start the week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the other league waits too long.
What's the Stars League?
The USFL. I don't want to watch that one. I don't want to watch that once baseball starts.
It doesn't start till April.
Yeah.
So you're filling the void of people who have been watching football since August and want to keep doing it, and they just roll right into it.
Well, the biggest thing for the XFL is also that they're in the home markets. So I know it's not a Philadelphia team, but those other stadiums, even though they're not full the upper level, you're still filling 15, 20,000 people for a game. How are you supposed to get into the Stars if you've never met the guys? You don't know them. They're not in the town. It seems fake. It seems like a movie. I don't care for that.
Yeah, that is a big problem for that league.
Yeah. Well, guys, great show. Hopefully we beat up on the Sixers enough that they'll beat up on the Heat tonight, and they can steal one down there on South Beach. So they got some tough games coming up. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope they can steal a couple of W's along the way.
Yep.
So, John, closing thoughts, comments?
Without the big man tonight, they're going to win.
There
Wow.
you go.
What does that mean? Not to get into because we're ending it, but what does that mean then? Do they send him another game? Let's say, or no?
No, but you can't sit at one. But I think the guys step up, because they're actually getting playing time, and I think it's you see it happen. They won games without him in the lineup. It just you can't force the ball through him. Him and Harden together, I think, and that's probably why Harden wants to leave. Harden likes to dribble the ball too much, and and then you pass it off to Embiid, and then Embiid can't shoot when it's like 3 seconds left on the clock, and it's just not a good mix. But yeah, I think you'll see a little bit of a different game tonight.
All right, fingers crossed. Hey, Shawnee, I'm going to keep you to it. You find a good Wi-Fi spot down there at Jimmy's Iguana Bar, and we'll catch you live. You can do a sunset shot there at Jimmy's. All right. sound like a plan.
Here we go,
guys. Have a great Wednesday night. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see everybody soon.
Sounds good.
Take care.
See ya.